Sorry, I'm just being quiet for a second because this dialogue has been going on for so long. I just realized, like, man, it's gonna be so hard to break this into a YouTube video. It's like, so I thought, like, you know, if I just be silent for a bit, if I need to make a cut right there in the middle of all this Gaia talk because the YouTube video is, like, trying to get over 28 minutes, then I can.
You said Hephaestus isn't located in just one place.
Correct. Unlike the other subordinate functions, which are confined to discrete physical processors, Hephaestus is distributed throughout the global network that connects the planet's cauldrons.
So, when the time comes to subdue it, how do we make that happen?
I do not know. While you are retrieving the procurable subordinate functions, I will attempt to find a solution.
So, once Hephaestus has been recovered and merged, you'll regain the capacity to mass-produce machines at cauldrons around the world.
Yes, and to program their behavioral routines, or even control them directly.
So could you build an army of machines? Attack the descendants of Far Zenith and take them out?
It is in my nature to take any and all necessary steps to preserve life on Earth, human life above all. So yes, once I have been empowered with the capacities of Hephaestus, I could design, build, and command such an army. Given the nature of the Far Zenith threat, doing so may be our only option. I must admit, however, that I have misgivings about using such technology to kill, no matter how aggressive the enemy.
That's good. It means you have a conscience. As Elizabeth intended.
Indeed.
What if Hephaestus absorbs some of the missing subordinate functions? I don't know. I don't feel like the subordinate functions would be, like, able to do that, honestly. Because, like, they were all split up, and it said, like, when the extinction signal came in, it said that that all of them were split and went apart. So, I don't really feel like any of the subordinate functions could absorb any of the others without, at least not without someone like Aloy forcing, like, trying to get them to merge, like how she's doing with Gaia. I feel like none of the subordinate functions would be able to overtake another just because they wanted to. But, I mean, there are 3 subordinate functions that are, like, gone, or we don't know where they are. I guess Apollo, we know, is just gone because it was deleted. And then Artemis and, Eulythia, I think it was? Those 2 could be anywhere. Who knows what's going on with them. But, that Alpha Apollo should still be with Far Zenith. I'm actually really worried about Far Zenith loading up their version of Gaia, and they immediately, like, we have Minerva, but they immediately are gonna have Apollo, and I bet Apollo is worth more, processing power than the average subordinate function if they're not all exactly even. And I don't think they're all exactly even, because Gaia said if she had 4 of them, she'd be at 41% or, like, 42%? That's not perfect math. There are 10 subordinate functions, so if they all have the same amount of processing power, then 4 should just equal 40%, the end. The fact that she didn't say it's exactly 40% means that, and I think she said Minerva was only worth like 8%. So that means that, like, some subordinate functions are worth more processing power than others. I would expect Hephaestus, Hades, and Apollo to probably be the 3 beefiest of the subordinate functions. If any subordinate functions are worth more than 10%, I would think it would be those 3, more than likely. So, I'm super, dude, I can't wait to see how this goes. This is so awesome. Oh, is there more about the Zeniths now?
So if the descendants came to Earth on a spaceship, I guess we can assume that their technology...
Yes.
Yeah, we've done this. It's gotta be, there's gotta be a slightly different bit of dialogue in here somewhere.
They appear to make it further. They seem to have energy field that...
Yeah, no kidding.
Throughout
Yeah, this is all the same.
For example, assuming I absorbed Hephaestus and utilized it to create a large force of combat machines. No shielding could withstand such an assault indefinitely.
So there's hope.
Always.
Alright, different dialogue because we, like, have the Hephaestus information now. Alright, last one. We're almost done talking to Gaia, lads. The biosphere.
What is the state of the biosphere? Is the terraforming system functioning at all?
In a sense, the terraforming system never stopped functioning. The difference, since my predecessor's destruction, is that there has been no central governing intelligence to monitor its robotic agents and assign new tasks. As a result, errors have accrued, and day by day, the biosphere has gradually veered ever more sharply towards destruction. In recent months, disturbances in the biosphere have become obvious. But these bellwether phenomena offer just the merest glimpse of the complex and accelerating cycles of environmental dysfunction, now driving Earth's biosphere towards collapse.
And you can't do anything to stop it.
If you can return Ether, Poseidon, and Demeter to me, I can improvise modest corrections to parts of the system. Weather will improve, water will be purified, and rampant plant growth curtailed. But such corrections will not stave off collapse. They will only buy us time. Only with Hephaestus can I design and produce new robotic agents designed to permanently reverse the damage that has accumulated. All efforts must be directed toward that end.
Gotta get Hephaestus. Gotta get Hephaestus. And the only way to get Hephaestus is to get the 3 subordinate functions that we can find.
How long do we have then?
At present rates, without additional factors, the biosphere will cross a point of no return in approximately 4 months.
And if I gather Ether, Demeter, Poseidon, merge you with them?
We will only gain a few months more.
Well, every bit counts.
But once we get Hephaestus, we're sitting pretty.
I guess I should get going and start bringing back subordinate functions. What can you tell me about their locations?
When my predecessor destroyed herself, the subordinate functions sought physical processors capable of holding them. So in each case you will be looking for a powerful computer of some kind. Ether is the closest, and therefore might be the easiest to acquire. However, it appears to be in the middle of Tanact territory. My knowledge of that tribe is limited to data I read on your focus, but they seem to have a significant inclination towards violence.
Well, that's a nice way to put it. What about Poseidon and Demeter?
Poseidon has taken shelter in the desert south of this location. My substratal geography data indicates that a major old-world settlement called Las Vegas was located there.
What happens there stays there.
The desert, huh? Strange place for an AI devoted to water.
Agreed. As for Demeter, it appears to be located on the coast to the far west. Unfortunately, I am unable to provide any relevant data about the region. As such, it may be the most difficult to retrieve.
Okay, so 3 subordinate functions to go after. Ether, somewhere in Tanact territory. Poseidon in the desert, and Demeter on the coast.
Where will you begin?
Oh, I have to pick. Oh, they're actually listed as levels. Oh, this is really cool that they let you, like, decide, but, I mean, I'm gonna be super basic and normal and just go with the lowest level one. I mean, like, you saw me fight that shell snapper, right? I don't really want to be going against something, going and trying to do a mission that's, like, what level am I right now? 15? 16? It's like almost 10 levels higher than me. So I'm just gonna go in normal order because I assume that's the way the game expects you to take it.
I think I'll head for Ether.
Then I will assign Ether as the objective on your focus. If you obtain it, I may be able to use it to quell the most severe storms in the region. Though I will require Hephaestus and the control over machines that it offers to permanently stabilize the biosphere. Should you change your mind, you can update your objective via your focus interface at any time. I will also transmit a summary of available data on all of the subordinate functions to you for reference. Is there anything else I can help you with? I know you have a great deal to accomplish.
I do, don't I?
Is something wrong?
I don't know. It's just that Elizabeth set the bar pretty high. She had a dream for you, for life on Earth, and a lot has gone wrong, and it's all on my shoulders to fix it. Do you think I can do it all? Repair the system, defeat Varzenith, live up to her example?
Absolutely. In her last message, my predecessor declared her unwavering conviction in your success. In you, all things are possible. You prevailed in purging Hades and rebooting my system core. You will prevail in this.
Thank you, Gaia. Well, I guess I should get going.
I have unlocked the facility's exits. One leads onward to the west. The other leads back down the mountain to Plainsong, should you wish to return east.
Varl?
Whoa! Gonna have to get used to that. That's you, Aloy?
Yeah. Gaia's opened the exits to this place. Can you and Zoe meet me by the west door?
Be right there.
Established the base. Yo, we get like a base? That's sick. I love it. Nice little Bible reference you have there, and you all things are possible. What's this? Cyclops console? Cyclops? Cyclops, I told you that this was the thing from the X-Men!
Gaia? What is this?
It is a control console for a drone-based imaging system connected to this dome. I will transmit the relevant data to your focus.
So this Cyclops is a network of drones to monitor the deteriorating biosphere conditions. I guess it was meant to display on the dome, but the drones aren't connected anymore. If I find the drones out in the wilds, I could get the data from them, use it to reconnect them, and restore the display.
But still, can we make a backup in case something with the Zenith guys goes wrong? I'm pretty sure there are two possibilities here, right? So, like, either... Oh my goodness, there are 10 of these. Okay, that's super neat. Either Gaia is already making a backup in the area that she's in to have as a backup, or they don't have anything sufficient to put a backup in, because the only casing we have that can, like, carry data to that extent is the one that we have to use to get the subordinate functions, so we can't waste our time putting another Gaia copy in it when we need it to have space for all the subordinate functions. Speaking of which, a lot of subordinate functions to read about right here. Oh my word, a lot. Hephaestus is the Zero Dawn subordinate function responsible for designing and building machines, yeah, yada yada. During the construction of Zero Dawn, Hephaestus software was developed by Alpha Project lead Margot Shen. It was I remember her. It was one of the first subordinate functions to be deployed when Minerva's code-breaking efforts successfully deactivated the robots of the Pharaoh Swarm. For centuries after, Gaia used Hephaestus in tandem with Aether, Poseidon, Demeter, and Artemis, designing and building the machines they needed to restore the biosphere. Given its broad mandate and essential role, it is the largest and most powerful subordinate function. That's what I figured. I figured it, Hades, and Apollo had to be the top three. Hephaestus number one makes sense. When Hades was infected by the mysterious signal that gave it malevolent consciousness, Gaia destroyed herself to prevent it from taking over and triggering another extinction. At this time, Hephaestus, deranged and semi-conscious, fled to the network that connects the world's cauldron facilities. Hephaestus now functions with a warped set of priorities, determined to protect the machines used by the terraforming system from human predation. To do so, it infiltrates cauldrons to build combat machines, which it then deploys against human hunters. Unlike Hades, it does not wish to exterminate humanity, only cull hunters that kill too many machines. As such, overhunting by human tribes often spurs Hephaestus to deploy ever more powerful combat units to the affected area. In most cases, Hephaestus is only able to partially control the cauldrons it haunts, but at least once in the icy Banuk territory known as the Cut, it attempted to build its own cauldron to accelerate construction of combat machines. This effort was halted by Aloy working in tandem with the Banuk Werak led by the siblings Artak and Araya. Ah, that's a nice little reference to the whatchamacallit, to the DLC in the first game. Aether. Aether is the Zero Dawn subordinate function responsible for the detoxification and stabilization of the atmosphere. It was developed by Alpha Project lead Anders Larsen. It was one of the first subordinate functions to be deployed when Minerva's code-breaking efforts were successful and got rid of the swarm. For centuries after, it worked through machines built by Hephaestus to scrub Earth's atmosphere of toxins, moderate the climate, and establish stable weather patterns. When Hades was infected, mysterious signal gave conscious. Gaia destroyed herself to prevent it from taking over and triggering extinction. At this time, Aether, deranged and semi-conscious, fled to a processor somewhere in the Forbidden West. Yep. So it actually makes, like, I bet that there are some people playing the game who are like, oh, what are the odds that 3 subordinate functions would be right in the Forbidden West for us to be able to get them, and they're 3 that we need? Oh, what are the odds? Well, obviously it's the 3 that we need, because otherwise, if they weren't, then the game would be over. Like, the world would be doomed, and, like, who wants to play a game where you're just, like, destined to lose no matter what? I'm sure there are some people, but I imagine they're the large minority. But it makes sense that because they were all semi-conscious and sent out and, like, had to find processors fast and all, that they would have just jumped into, like, the first processors they could find, which means that, theoretically, all of them, such as Hades, because Hades was also Hades was actually the closest subordinate to the mountain, but all of them would come from the Zero Dawn mountain where Gaia exploded at. So it makes sense that all of these subordinate functions are so close. You would expect most, if not all of them, to be somewhere around the mountain in some fashion. We have 4 more to read. I will read them later because we've just gone through so much dialogue. So much. What is this one? The subordinate functions. Do I need to read this? Below you will find a summary of the subordinate functions. I have included a preliminary analysis of how retrieval of Aether, Demeter, and Poseidon will allow me to affect the parts of the biosphere. I hope you will find it useful. Aether. Oh, so this one is worth... Okay, so they actually say how much they're worth. Oh, dude, Apollo. Apollo is only worth 4.8%? Wow, so Apollo's actually, like, the smallest one. I expected Apollo to be big. Okay. Interesting. So, Ether, worth 6.8%. We were this close to greatness, chat. We were this close to greatness. Detoxification and stabilization of the atmosphere, located in Tanakh territory. Retrieval analysis. Retrieval of Aether should result in improved atmospheric conditions in the region, which in turn should quell the most violent of supercell storms. Note, the Apollo database and all known backups have been deleted by authority of Ted Faro's Omega clearance. Hate that guy. What a scumbag. Artemis. Artemis is worth 7.4. Dang. Reintroduction of primary and secondary animal species, location unknown. Not gone, just unknown. Lead project for Artemis was Charles Ronson. Apollo was Samina Abaji. I remember her. She was very sad about Apollo being destroyed. Demeter, project lead Tanaka Naoto, 8.3%. Environmental remediation and stabilization, reintroduction of primary and secondary plant species. It's on the Pacific coast. Retrieval of Demeter should result in improved soil conditions in the region, reducing the proliferation of red blight. Eulythia, project lead Patrick Brokered Klein, 3.6%. That one being very small makes sense. That is very small. Yeah, I guess it does make sense that Apollo wouldn't use much processing power because it's mostly just a storage unit. Yeah, I guess I was looking at it the wrong way. I was thinking of it from just, like, how much space it takes instead of how much, like, computing power it would utilize. That does make sense that Apollo would actually be one of the smallest ones. Project lead for Eulythia, Patrick Brokered Klein. He was in charge of some kind of, like, I remember him saying he was in charge of some kind of, like, cloning laws. Gestation of humans from cryogenically preserved embryos, location unknown. Eulythia has fulfilled its function by birthing all of its embryos and releasing humans back into the wilds, albeit prematurely. So the only reason we would ever care about Eulythia is if we wanted that 3.6% heuristic power. Hades is only 3.2%? Travis Tate, destruction of non-viable biosphere, location permanently destroyed. I would have thought Hades would be worth, like, 15%. Because, like, he has to take Gaia's place and, like, control everything to, like, break it all down and destroy it. I really thought that Hades would be, like, he would have a lot of processing power. That's really surprising. Hephaestus is 39%. I knew Hephaestus would be a lot. I knew Hephaestus would be a lot, but I did not think it would be 39. I thought he would be, like, 30. Although I guess it makes sense that he's, like, around 40% because Gaia said she needed, like, 42% to be able to take control of him. Led by Margot Shen, maintenance of cauldron facilities, yada yada. Minerva, Ayamide Aquilo, 17.2%. Oh, Minerva's worth a ton. That makes sense because Minerva had to run the program to get rid of Faro. Minerva should be worth a lot. Merged with Gaia. Poseidon, 7.7% made by Catalina Garcia Fernandez, Ruins of Las Vegas, the Hydrosphere. Retrieval of Poseidon result in improved watershed conditions, reducing the proliferation of toxic red algae. All right. Good stuff, good stuff. Dude, Apollo I don't find shocking, but I really do find, Hades only being, Hades is actually the smallest one. I find Hades being the smallest amount of processing shocking. I really thought that Hades would be, like, second after... I thought, like, Hephaestus, biggest amount of processing. Hades, number 2. Shows what I know about computers and stuff. Cyclops. I've compiled available information on the parametric situational climate observation, or Cyclops for short, for your perusal. Regional Control Center was intended to oversee terraforming operations in the area. Cyclops was included as a failsafe. It consists of a network of 10 drones designed to automatically deploy in the event of biosphere degradation. The drones would then disperse to various locations in the region where they would capture footage of the surrounding environment to display on the dome of the control room. It appears that the Cyclops drones did in fact deploy successfully. In comparing the facility's logs to data from your focus, it seems that this occurred not long after the first appearance of supercell storms and the Red Blight. However, each drone lost connection with the regional control center shortly thereafter, likely due to environmental interference. If the drones are still in operation, acquiring their data modules and returning them to the console in the control room should restore their connections, allowing you to view their footage. How nice.